Today we're going to have another episode in the Johnny's Essential Oils series. I love that name. Yeah, Johnny has essential oils, that's right. In this era where we talk about essential oils for this and that, I thought, well, Johnny needs essential oils, so maybe we should talk about that. We're going to change the hydraulic fluid in Johnny today. Now, we've got a video several years old where I changed the hydraulic fluid in the original Johnny. So you might ask, well, why do we need another episode of the same thing? A couple reasons. First, I'm going to show you a couple things differently. Another thing is that we're doing this at 100 hours. I've got 99.7 hours on Johnny. And the 50-hour service has been removed. They no longer specify that in the book, that you need a 50-hour hydraulic oil change. I want to see what that screen looks like. I do recommend you go back through that first episode. It shows in detail how to change the hydraulic fluid. We may not go to that much detail here. We may just show you an overview. So be sure to catch that one. But you can see the screen in that episode, and you can see the shavings on that screen. Well, I'm wondering what the screen's going to look like at 100 hours. Since I've skipped the 50-hour service as directed by the book, what's it going to look like at 100 hours? So we're going to check that out. Also, some things have changed on this tractor. The backhoe subframe is a little bit different than it was on the 2014 version. And we're going to still try to leave the left rear wheel on the tractor, but we're going to take the 3-point hitch arms off, and I may take one other piece off to see if we can make it easier to do that little hose connection at the bottom that you saw me struggle with in the first episode. For this project, we don't need too many tools. I've got a 13mm half-inch breaker bar. I've got a 13mm wrench. This is the most critical. This is an oil pan. Actually, I've got just a little bit of oil in it. Probably just enough to bring some drama to this, because we have to have an oil pan that will hold the entire 4 or 4+ gallons that we will be getting out of the hydraulic reservoir. And I can tell you, while it's flowing out, you keep thinking, I don't think my tub is big enough. I have a link to this one on my Amazon store, amazon.com/shop/tractortimewithtim. Not because I'm trying to sell you one, but more because I just want you to know that you can get one that will actually hold enough oil. So check that out. I may need a filter wrench to get to the filter. We'll get to that. Other than that, not too many tools. Let's get started. Okay, here's the plug we have to remove right there. And I only have one hand, so I don't think I'm going to show removing it, but it's a 13mm. It really looks a little bit different. I don't know if they've refabricated this a little bit, but the plug looks a little different than I remember on our 2014 Johnny. So maybe there has been some changes. But it's basically the same concept. We're going to take out this plug right here and let it drain. Maybe I can brace the camera while I get under there. I should have the other camera on to show you the hoops I'm jumping through here. I've got the light and the camera and the bucket all between me and the plug. So this will be significantly easier for you. Try to keep from soaking myself. Okay, I believe it's free. Well, it wasn't bad. Just like my first video, it looks clear. If the oil looks cloudy here, it's probably got water in it. But if it looks clear, everything was good. Now, it's going to look clear even if it's dirty and needs to be changed. We'll actually get a much better view of that when we take the screen off in the back. Well, we'll let this run while we move around to the rear of the tractor. Now, to get to the magnet and screen, we have to take this hose off right here. And to do that, we have to take these two clamps off, slide the hose upward. At least on my 2014 model, this wasn't easy at all. Now, I did take the lift arms off this time, partially so I could reach in there better and partially so you could see in there better. I'm actually going to take one extra step today. I'm going to remove my heavy hitch 2-inch receiver hitch here. I love this thing, by the way. It allows me to put a drawbar extension in here to pull small trailers, like our little sprayer and other trailers that are made for lawn tractors. Lengthening that drawbar allows those trailers to be able to turn very nicely, and otherwise they're just too small for this tractor. But I'm going to take this thing off because I've got a couple other brackets that I'm going to put on. These are from boltonhooks.com, and you can put these under to give you some tie downs. So I figured we'd put these brackets on while we're doing this oil change, and we'll actually see if taking this plate off. Now, if you don't have the 2-inch receiver hitch, you still have a standard drawbar plate that you could remove as well. So we'll see if that actually makes this job easier. I get a bunch of comments about, why don't you use an impact wrench? Why don't you use an impact wrench? Well, oftentimes I don't use an impact wrench just so that I can talk to you guys. And I typically don't need it much in the episode anyway. But today, just to calm your fears, yes, I do have an impact wrench and I'm going to use it. Or maybe I won't. These are tight. So I'm going to have to use this big cheater. I guarantee you they didn't need to be on there that tight. I think taking that plate off gives you a lot better visibility, even if it doesn't end up helping me. Well, I'm going to move this clamp up out of the way if I can. I think I'll move this one up out of the way, all the way like that. Now I'll grab the hose. These locking pliers are like water pump pliers, except they've got a lot finer adjustment and a lot more accurate adjustment. They just won't slip out. Now I've got a link to these on my Amazon store, and they're not cheap, but my brother Tom got them for me for Christmas, telling me they were the best pliers he'd ever had, and well, I agree. So I'm trying to slide this hose upward out of the way of the connector down here. I believe we are out of the way. Now from this angle it may be a little bit hard to see, but the backhoe subframe does not present any interference at all, neither does the rear wheel. Now this is an Allen head bolt here, and I worked at it with an Allen head and I could never get it to break loose. It was really tight. I finally used my pliers here, wrapped around it, to get it broke loose just like that. You can see the scuff marks on it where I worked on it with the pliers. At this point we're just trying to pry this apart. There's an O-ring, there it came. See, that really was very easy once we had the bolt out. So here it comes. And it fits easily inside the tire, as you can see there. Okay, here's the amount of junk on the outside of the screen. And then we should take that apart, see what the magnet itself looks like. So that shows the amount of gunk that had got inside the screen and stuck to the magnet. This looks very similar to what I saw in my 2014 tractor. So I'll clean those up. Okay, I'm going to take this magnet now and insert where the screen was and just kind of fish around. See if I can catch any more shavings. I have. I think this is one of those free Harbor Freight magnets, so it's not very good. But hey, since I have cast aluminum rear end or whatever, I don't have to worry about my magnet sticking to that. I keep finding more grime and gunk in there by doing that. It makes sense that a magnet would be able to attract it, and that you ought to be able to get most of it out. Okay, we got this thing cleaned off and we're ready to put it back in. Now there really is no need to take the rear wheel off. The bolt in, actually thread it in at least before I seal that O-ring, just so that I have it lined up properly. I'm going to attempt to push it on. I might actually use my pliers for that. A little bit of leverage. we go, just like that. Tighten this up with my Allen wrench. Now we're going to try to slide that hose right back down over the fitting there. If anything, that looks like it's a little too far down compared to the last paint. Maybe I'll try to pull it back up just a little. Okay. Take these pliers and grab that pipe clamp and try to get it to go down there. This has always been the hard part. Now I get it pulled open like that. I've got a screwdriver in my other hand. I'm going to try to push down the back of it with the screwdriver. It's always hard to keep it spread while you're trying to push it down. I believe that's got it. That's the hardest one, is the bottom one. We won't know for sure if it leaks until we put oil in it, but it looks pretty good. I have to have my pliers just the right width to catch this when it's open, and yet to be able to pull it far enough closed. There we go. Okay, so removing the 3-point hitch arms and removing that drawbar plate really did help to provide easy access, and quite frankly, the access is the problem here. Putting a hose clamp on a hose is not that big of a deal, right? But it is a big deal when you can't get access to it. We got that done. Hey, we still need to replace the filter. Let's do that. The filter is up in there. We can't see it at all, can we? There, you might be able to see it. So I found it helps a lot to lower the auto connect mechanism. This auto connect mechanism, when it's tucked up tight like that, seems to be in the way, and especially the auto connect PTO portion is tucked up right against the filter. So I have found that by lowering that, we have better access to the filter. Okay, now I think I have the worst filter wrench in the world. But even with it, I'm able to get this thing going. Don't ever get a filter wrench this style. I hate this style wrench, but it kind of works. And here comes the oil out of the filter. Once you get the auto connect mechanism lowered, you have really good access with your hands. You may not have as good a visual with the camera here, but I have good access. I can get both hands in there. It's no problem. Try to be really careful as I put this new filter up in there. I don't want to fill it with dirt before we even get it on. But it's pretty easy access, actually. Just a little bit of grease on the filter's O-ring, and now try to get it started screwing on here. Okay. And the way this reads on how much to tighten it is 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn after the filter contacts the base, after the gasket here contacts the base. Some people misread that as 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn after it's hand tight. Well, no. So there we go. That's about 1/2 of a turn after the gasket contacted the base. I probably should have done this before, but now I'm going to get a paint pen and write 100 hours on it. It's not so bad that I can't see it. It's worse that I have to use my left hand. 100 it says. Well, we're ready for oil. I'm not sure how this is going to go. I bought the oil in a 5-gallon bucket this time. We need about 4 gallons. Now, one thing to remember is 5 gallons of oil is a little bit lighter than 5 gallons of water. So if you're concerned about the weight, if you can handle 5 gallons of water, you can definitely handle 5 gallons of hydraulic fluid. Now the question is whether I can keep from spilling it, keep from overflowing the funnel, or otherwise embarrassing myself. Now I know I could keep it from gurgling if I did upside down, but I think I'll go just like this for a while. Now if it's running out on the floor right about now, well, that's not good. I think maybe I should check. Nah. Hey, this is going okay. I haven't spilled a drop yet. The accessibility of the hydraulic filter is fine. The accessibility of the fill cap here is wonderful. The accessibility of the screen at the bottom is not bad. You don't have to take the wheel off like the manual says. The only challenge is reconnecting that hose. I don't know if I just got better at it this time or if they've restructured a little bit. It doesn't seem quite the same as my 2014 version. I may have to leave it up to you guys to go back to the old video and see the differences. But it went on better this time, I think. I believe this is the third time I've done a hydraulic oil change on a 1025R. 2 on my first one, and then this is the first one here. Now the dipstick is down here along the side. So in some situations you use the fill cap for the dipstick, but not for this. I actually prefer a dipstick to an eyeglass. It's not up to the ad mark yet, and I don't see anything running out the bottom. Now this can wasn't totally full. I had put some in, had replaced some in Johnny 2, I think. Maybe in Johnny 5 as well. So I may not have enough oil. Folks, you can do this service yourself. There's nothing complex about it. What we showed you was all we did to make it happen. Of course, your John Deere dealer can do it as well if you're not comfortable with it. But if you are comfortable, I wouldn't hesitate. The parts are easily available at greenpartsstore.com. If you want to know the specific parts you need, you can go to tractortimewithttim.com and search the 200-hour service. And I have links that add the appropriate kit to your cart at greenpartsstore.com. And they go ahead and apply the TTWT coupon code so that you get free shipping. We actually have a lot of stuff on tractortimewithttim.com that's useful for 1025Rs or other subcompact tractors. Hey, it's above the ad mark. I think we're going to have enough oil. Probably just right, in fact. That would be good because I'd like to use this container to hold the used oil. There are some recycling centers in the area where we can recycle oil. At least there were in Carmel. I'm not sure exactly what the rules are here in Lebanon. Well, it's a little above the full mark now. I don't know if that's okay or not, but we'll soon find out. Okay, one more part to go back together. Either the standard drawbar plate or the heavy hitch drawbar plate. And as I mentioned, I'm going to put these new tie downs on here. Now, if you didn't have the backhoe subframe, you could turn these around the other direction, have them facing outward. You'd have a really nice hook, but these are going to work. You might not need the longer bolts if you don't have the backhoe subframe. The standard bolts would probably work, but I believe this is going to work fine for me. I'll be able to hook either this way or across the center to get to them. I'm really not certain why machines don't have better tie downs from the factory. Little machines like this are trailered very frequently, and it would just make sense to me that they would be a factory standard feature, but we don't see that. Boltonhooks.com for these brackets. Hey, what do you think about my new 3-point hitch carrier? I guess I lost it when we were on the horse lot drainage project. I had the tiller on. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. But I need to get a new one of these. I'll get it at greenpartsstore.com. Just keep forgetting. I think that's all for this project. Folks, don't be scared to tackle your own service projects. Now, if you absolutely know that you shouldn't be doing service projects, okay, take it to your John Deere dealer. But if you feel like you could do it and you just needed that little nudge, go ahead and give it a try. There aren't that many steps. None of the steps are difficult. They just take patience. Don't allow yourself to get angry. Just recognize that, well, you might be a beginner and it might not go totally smoothly. And you can always stop and come back tomorrow as long as you've got your tractor positioned where you don't need to move it. Hope you all enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim.